ये तो शुरू होते ही खत्म हो गया यार.
Yes, it is time to cry petrol heads because this Lotus is the last of its kind. The Emira, which actually means princess in Arabic, is the last internal combustion engine model from Lotus because all cars from this brand are going to be electric now under the new ownership of Geely. Geely is obviously a Chinese car brand which also owns Volvo. And the owner of Geely is the highest shareholder in Mercedes-Benz, owning 9.69%. Now you know why Mercedes-Benz also wants to go electric. Anyways, this is the key of the vehicle. It says Lotus here. The interesting part is it says for the drivers. Yes, it says it on both the sides. This is to lock the car, this is to unlock the car, and this is to open the boot of the vehicle, rather the place where the engine is, because this is a rear mid-engine car or a mid-engine car. The design will kind of remind you of a Ferrari or a Lambo. I am not kidding. Almost 5 people have come from the main road asking which Lamborghini is it, and I told them this is the DC Avanti. Now coming to the design of the car, it looks absolutely phenomenal. What a lovely design. The hood does not open at all, which is kind of surprising because the engine is at the rear, right? So they should have given us some space here. However, only the service engineers, they can open it with some screws and all those things. Probably they've put a lot of stuff here like the AC and battery and blah blah blah. Battery, the car battery, it's not having any hybrid assist. Yes! Anyways, it's got 4 parking sensors at the front. It has this mesh grille which looks quite nice, and that is the parking sensor here. Now the Lotus logo has A, C, B, C, whatever it's written here. It is actually the name of the founder, which is Anthony Colin Bruce Chapman. That is very subtly put right here. The car looks lovely in yellow. It has a lot of aggressive aero bit. Like, look at this treatment. Isn't that absolutely phenomenal? It says Emira on the inside, indicators functioning at the moment. You got a projector setup, 3 projectors at the lower part as well. This is actually the high beam, this is the low beam. The lights actually illuminate, however they become brighter when you come to high beam, obviously. Now here you will not see the indicator functioning because I have not turned them on, but you can see the DRLs. It looks absolutely phenomenal. The good part is there is no ADAS here. Yes, I hate ADAS. There's a rain sensor right there. The design is simply lovely. If you notice, the way this thing has been curved looks awesome. Yeah, the whole design elements on this car look super duper awesome. The tire size happens to be 245, 35, 20 at the front. I love the design of the alloy wheels. Yellow colored brake calipers with Lotus written right there. Huge discs also, because braking performance is important. There is no camera here, but there's some sort of a thing. I don't know what that is, but yeah, there is no camera. Frameless doors. I have kept the door open right now just for fun's sake. And from the side you realize that it has a decent amount of ground clearance, but again, looks so much like a Ferrari or a McLaren or a Lamborghini. Typical sports car design here. I'll call it a sports car, not a supercar, because a supercar does not have 4 cylinders. This is actually the Emira first edition. That's why it has this badging as well. Fuel goes in right here. Meanwhile, it has this opening so that it can cool the engine. Actually, air is coming out from here. So I think the fan is placed in a way that it pushes out air and also pulls in air, which is quite nice. The rear tire size is obviously bigger here. 295, 30, 20. Massive rear tire, like huge. Look at the size. Okay, you don't have to look from here because this opening also shows you the tire. So yeah, lots of cuts and creases. Indicator functioning at the moment. Lights look nice. This is the engine of the vehicle. It says Lotus here. That engine actually comes from Mercedes. You also have the option of another engine, which we'll talk about when we are driving, obviously. It says 50 kg is the max you can put here. This is 151 liters, the only real storage in this car. Warning triangle, tire inflator here. There is no spare wheel, obviously. Yeah, there is no spare wheel. Washer fluid goes in right here. Let's shut this with a bit of love. And there you can see the engine because of the glass, which is quite cool. And again, these vents are there so that air can flow. The design is lovely from any side you look at it. It's just so well done. It's quite amazing. In fact, this is the rear fog light. There's a camera here, 2 exhausts as well, and you get 4 parking sensors too. Lotus written too. Now straight away, let's get inside because there's not much to talk about in terms of the design because it's just so phenomenal now. What do I even say? Now you need to push it like this to open the doors. Very aero design. You have electric adjust for both the front seats. You've got buttons here. This is obviously for the power window. Press a button. There it rolls up. Automatic, obviously. Meanwhile, these are the controls for the outside rear view mirror adjustment. Did you notice something? Yes, Volvo. Even the stalks are from Volvo, and so are these buttons on the steering wheel. They also come from Volvo. In fact, some of these buttons also look very Volvo inspired because, like I told you, Geely also owns Volvo. This is, I think, to increase or decrease the brightness, or this is for the headlight leveler. You tell me. And this is to open the boot of the vehicle. This is the electric parking brake. And the seats are nice and comfortable. It says Lotus here. Beautiful double stitching as well. Yeah, a lot of Alcantara. In fact, Alcantara is here on the top as well. But if you notice now, this thing has been scooped so that a person with a helmet can also sit in comfortably, because this is a track car, it's a Lotus, right? There's some storage space here, a USB-A charging socket as well. In fact, they have done some storage spaces all around. There's some storage space here as well, yes, behind the front seats. This is a two-seater. Let's get inside, which is a bit of a task. It's not the easiest thing to do. It says Emira here, and you can see the pedals also have this nice treatment to it. Now the glove box opens by pressing a button here. It's decent size, doesn't get the cooling function, again has Alcantara. There you can turn off the passenger airbag. Let's shut the door with some love, and there it shuts. Auto dimming mirror. There is no mirror here, no light as well. However, there is a mirror and light on this side. No height adjustable seat belts. It gets 6 airbags, I believe. I press this button to turn on the light. There it turns behind as well. So light control here, SOS button. And that's about it. This car is not having much tech. It has got KEF speakers, which do sound nice. Memory seats for the driver, not for the co-passenger. It even says Emira here on the AC vents. That's the level of attention to detail which is absolutely crazy. I definitely like it. Twin cup holders, some storage space here as well, with a USB-C and a USB-A charging socket too. This car does way more than its immediate rival, the Cayman, because they've added a lot of stuff inside this car. For starters, to turn on the vehicle, you have to lift this and turn it on. This will auto retract. This is so Lamborghini like. This is to get into parking. It says first edition right there with the British flag. This is for the drive mode. This is for the hazard light, and this is for the volume control. AC controls, physical buttons. In fact, if you notice, this is the Emira's design, and there's a guy sitting in a helmet here so that you can decide where you want the airflow. A wireless charging pad has been given here. I believe it's a wireless charging pad. And this is actually a 10.25 inch screen which has a G-force meter, a lap timer as well, and then you have got trip statistics. This is the tire pressure monitor. Let's come into the AC menu. Again, the guy with the helmet is sitting here. You get seat ventilation for the front seats because there are no rear seats in this car, guys. What are you talking about? Let's get into this menu. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, both of them wireless. Yes! Get into the performance menu, which I've already shown you, which is quite nice. Shows you how much power and torque you're consuming, which is very nicely done, yeah? Look at this. So let's rev it. There, it's showing me that. Amazing. Now let me come out of this menu and get into the widget here. It's a very simple menu, not very complex. You can easily browse through whatever you want. Let's get into reverse. This is the reverse parking camera, which is decent in terms of quality. It gets adaptive guidelines as well, and I can turn on and off the volume. Yeah, it should have had 360-degree parking camera for this price, but then it's not there. Now coming to this screen, it's also a big screen because this is actually a 12.3 inch screen. It gives a lot of information. Firstly, it's telling me I'm not belted up. So let's get into this menu, and you can browse through a lot of stuff. Yeah, there is so much information here. It's an information overkill, but the menu is actually very smoothly done. So you can just browse through like that. And every time I change the drive mode now, it also changes the instrument cluster. So yeah, you can hear the car becoming a bit louder, and I can decide what I want to see on either of the sides. So here I'm seeing a G-force meter. Here I'm seeing the power and torque meter. I can actually change that as well, which is kind of cool. Let's turn off the car and let me open the door. It doesn't do any graphics or what. That's kind of plain and basic. Let's turn it on. Yeah, it revs all the way. And the steering wheel is adjustable, but it is adjustable manually, both for reach as well as a rake. These are the controls for this multi-information display. These are the controls for the audio system as well as cruise control. It says Emira here. That is for the automatic wiper. This is for the automatic headlight, flat bottom steering, flat top steering as well. And it even says Emira first edition here. So they have put a lot of badges wherever they could, but it's all about the driving experience. So let's start driving right away. And surprisingly, the steering does not self-center. I've locked it completely to one side and I'm throttling. It is not coming back to the center, which makes it even more difficult. All right, it's time to start driving. Let's turn on the car, and there it rose to life. Straight away, we are going to change the drive mode to sport drive mode. Let's turn off the air conditioning. This menu now is a bit slow. It could have been faster. Come on, move out quickly. Yeah, the Chinese don't really do the best UI. Air conditioning off. We come into home so that you can see the G-force meter. G-force meter activated here. We come into drive mode. Specialist timing gear is right there. Hazard lights off. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. Launch, and off we go. That's 0 to 100 in 4.2 seconds, which is quite quick. Performance here is absolutely stunning. The engine is so good, which is unbelievable. In fact, it makes me want to do the brake test right away. Brakes are also very strong. And again, we are going to launch right away. Come on! No, launch control did not get activated, but anyways, off we go. That's 0 to 100 in 4.39 seconds, not bad at all, considering that launch control wasn't active. Now, this car is powered by a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, which actually comes from Mercedes-AMG. This is known as the M139 engine, which is absolutely phenomenal. You know why it's phenomenal? Look at the directional changes. Unbelievable. The speed at which it changes direction is mind-blowing. Handling is super. Performance is really nice. The engine is so raw and nice because the engine is right behind me. Yes, the engine is right behind. It's a rear mid-engine car, because of which performance is super duper awesome because of the better weight distribution. Obviously, Lotus knows a thing or two about handling and dynamics, and you can see it around the corners. The kind of speeds you can do is unfreaking believable. It stays glued to the road. Wow, what crazy body control. Amazing. Yeah, I can absolutely praise this car day in and day out because the kind of body composure it has is mind-blowing. In fact, we are going to take this car aggressively around this corner as well, and the engine is singing its song. It's loud because it's right behind, so you can hear the engine quite a lot. And then obviously you can hear the air intake, you can hear the blow-off valve as well. This Ciaz, I don't know where he wants to go, but he's certainly not sure about it, but never mind. Onto the throttle and off we are. The performance is just absolutely stunning here. Mind-blowing car to drive. Yeah, what a car, what an engine. I'm lost in words. I don't know what I'm talking, but let's quickly talk about the basics. This engine is a 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol engine which comes from Mercedes-AMG. It is known as the M139, also powers the A45. This engine is producing 360 horsepower here, around 6,600 RPM, and a torque output of 430 Newton meters at around 3,000 RPM of somewhere around that sort. It has been downgraded in terms of the output numbers because in the A45 it makes 421 horsepower and 500 Newton meters of torque. In fact, it should have had more power and torque here because Lotus cars are no longer light. This one weighs 1446 kgs because they have given it a lot of creature comfort, and that obviously adds to the weight of the car. So yes, it is on the heavier side, but doesn't feel heavy at all because the dynamics are so sharp. The handling is just amazing. It's next level, and the engine, it drives so freaking fast. You don't feel any turbo lag at all. It is just so fast having a motor, which is quite cool. The only problem with this car is that, other than the price, is the turning radius, which is quite a lot. So you're going to take a quick U-turn there, and you're going to see that the turning radius is absolutely crazy here. So rear wheel steer would be a nice addition here because that would just make it much easier to take U-turns. In fact, I'm taking a U-turn. I get into the throttle a little bit sideways as well. Yeah, that's how it is. The horn is also decent. Actually, it's nice. I like the horn. The motor is very well tuned here. It's so fast having. Before you think about turbo lag, it's already in the mid-range. Before you think about the mid-range, it's already in the top end. Before you think about the top end, it's already shifted to the next gear because this 8-speed automatic dual clutch gearbox, which obviously comes from Mercedes-AMG, is really quick with shifts. Only thing is it fumbles at lower speeds, but it's super quick with shifts. Yeah, it's so fast. Before you blink, it shifts. But you've got paddle shifters as well, so you can manually change your own gears if that's your thing. Obviously, the steering is so sharp because this is actually a hydraulic steering, and body roll is well contained because this car is obviously on the stiffer side. In fact, you don't feel much of the stiffness other than on the rumblers obviously, but because of the low profile tires now, this car is not really apt for being driven on Indian roads because potholes really affect the car a lot. So you have to be a bit careful, and there's a Toyota right in front, which reminds me that this car also can be had with a 3.5 litre V6 engine from Toyota, which powers the Camry in the US. This particular engine, the 3.5 litre V6, makes around 400 horsepower and 430 Newton meters of torque, which is the same torque as this particular engine. It's a supercharged engine, and it is similar in terms of acceleration timing, maybe slightly slower, but cost rupees 10 lakhs less. You can have it with a 6-speed automatic and a 6-speed manual, where they have actually exposed the lower part of the gearbox. All the workings of the gearbox can be seen there. Isn't that so freaking cool? Yeah, that's absolutely phenomenal. So ride is good, handling is super duper awesome, steering is quick, weighs up decently well at higher speeds, feedback is super rich as well. This is how you do a steering wheel. This is how you do a sports car with a decent ride, and there are no adaptive dampers, there's no air suspension, there's no nose lift function, and still it clears speed breakers without much fuss. In fact, you can decide how you want the dampers to be, how you want the spring rates to be, and how you want the tires to be, whether you want to sport or whether you want to tour. I mean, before you buy the car, you have to tell Lotus and they'll accordingly tweak your car, whatever preference you have, but just get the sport package, because on the road, this car obviously feels a little uncomfortable because our roads are not perfect, so it feels a bit bouncy as well. This is rear wheel drive, all the power going to the rear wheels, but still there's good amount of grip on offer. However, you need to remember one very important thing. There are 3 drive modes, and you should not get into the track drive mode, because that will turn off traction control, and this being rear wheel drive will obviously oversteer and spin. So right now we are in sport drive mode, and every time I change the drive mode, now it actually changes the cluster mode as well. So here we come into tour. Tour is actually like the normal drive mode, the base drive mode, the eco drive mode, if I can say that. And look at the way it is done right here in the tour drive mode. It looks kind of okay, but the track drive mode is by far the best. So we are going to come into the track drive mode there, and automatically the engine realizes that you can't be in a higher gear, you have to come into a lower gear, downshifting without even thinking twice. Yeah, the gearbox is so aggressive, it downshifts, and it downshifts so fast, super aggressive in terms of shifts as well. So yeah, this Lotus is such an amazing car to drive, pleasant in almost every possible way. This is how a sports car should be. It's loud, it's fast, it's sharp. In spite of the fact that 4 cylinders and 2 liters is not much displacement because of Mercedes' AMG magic, it still has a lot of grunt, and I feel that it's going to have a lot more power and torque in the future when they're going to upgrade to the similar power and output numbers as the A45, because the engine is very much capable. Only thing is, in the A45 the engine is at the front, here the engine at the rear, and when the engine is at the rear, cooling can be a bit of an issue. Do you like this cluster mode or not? Let me know about that. Now the length of this car is slightly more than 4.4 meters. The wheelbase is almost 2.6 meters, which makes it quite compact, and there is the agility here. Body roll is so well contained, you really feel like you can push the car hard and fast around corners, and the faster you drive it, you realize that you're not very fast, you're just slow. You can just push it harder and faster. That's how much it eggs you to push harder and faster, because of the level of confidence it instills in you. It's just phenomenal the way this car is, so damn awesome. I love it. And in terms of pricing, it's expensive. 3.82 crores is a lot of money. That is on-road Mumbai. And if I talk about what other cars you can get, well, the Cayman is its rival compared to, this dimension and all those things. However, because the Cayman is now discontinued, the other car which you can get for similar pricing is the 911 Turbo S, which is a lot of car and a lot of legacy for just rupees 15 lakhs more, and that is where lies the problem. This car is just a bit too expensive in India because of taxes and the way the operation has been done, because Lotus is not officially present as such, it's doing it through a dealer operation. And kudos to the dealer for bringing in Lotus to India, because Lotus makes some amazing cars. This is the last of its kind, because the future for Lotus is all electric. By 2028, they're just going to have only EVs on sale, so they want to be an EV sports car maker, which I don't know how it's going to work, because sports cars need to sound really nice, and this one does sound super duper awesome as well. I like the way the steering is so communicative. You exactly know where the front wheels are pointing. That's how good the steering is. And the throttle response is so crisp. The turbo lag cannot be felt. I mean, there is obviously lag because turbochargers take their own sweet time to spool up, especially if the displacement is small. The turbo has to be big to put out these crazy number of output numbers, and yet somehow everything works so fluidly well. It's mind-blowing. I know 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in around 4.2 seconds is not the fastest, and there are cars which are faster for cheaper, like let's take the BMW M340i, similar 0 to 100 km per hour timing, but as a package of performance, dynamics, looks, this thing brings everything so well together that it feels almost magical. The only thing is the price just kind of throws you off, and then the Lotus's limited sales and service network is another issue to contend with. But as I see it, once you drive this car, you definitely fall in love. It is that desirable, it is that fun, it is that brutal in terms of the way it's able to take you through corners at speeds which only probably a Porsche would be able to do, and that is where lies the problem. Porsche was also offering us some great cars in similar price range. I mean, why wouldn't you get the GT4 RS? Because the GT4 RS, although is amazing, it is not usable on a daily basis. Unfortunately, getting an allocation is just next to impossible. Ground clearance of the GT4 RS is really bad. You can obviously opt for the nose lift function, but everything is so expensive in Porsche's customization world that you're like, should I do it? Should I not? And in track mode, oh my god, it feels even more brutal. I thought this is the most brutal in like sport mode, but in track mode, this is a new level of brutal only. Yeah, the exhaust is so loud that these speakers never need to be used only because you're just going to enjoy the sound of this 4-cylinder engine. And I never thought I will say enjoy a sound of a 4-cylinder engine, because 4-cylinder engines are like mid, but this one is so well tuned. It feels awesome, raw, unadulterated, and whoop, quite growly as well. And we're going to launch it yet again. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, launch, and off we go. Oh my god. Oh my god, the shifts are super seamless in track mode. In fact, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.96 seconds in track mode. So it becomes faster still, which is mind-blowing. So Lotus obviously has a lot of cars in their past. All of them start with E. I don't know why. So there is the Elise, there is the Electre, which came recently, Exige, Evora, Eclat, Elclat. I mean, there's so many names I can't even remember, so I'm just going to flash them on your screen right now. How do they even get so many names from letter E? I don't even understand. Now, in terms of the pricing, 43.24 lakhs goes into the registration cost of this car, which is a lot, and rupees 13 lakhs goes for the first year insurance cost of this car, which again is quite a lot, but then this is a pricey car, no two ways about it. And because prices of Lambos, Ferraris and all those McLarens have become so high, this kind of feels like a bargain for what it has to offer. The code name of this car is Type 131, and if you're on the middle ground right now on the bench thinking what should I do, just get this car if you have the budget, because there's nothing like this which is ever going to come again from Lotus. This is the last of its kind. In fact, this came in 2021. I don't know how it still is the first edition after 4 years, because first edition is only for the first 100, 200, 500,000, 10,000, 50,000 customers, but still this one is the first edition, which is quite surprising to me. Okay, let's use the wipers. Oh, that's a lot of spray there. Okay, listen to this, okay? I'm going to throttle and I'm going to lift off from the throttle, and you can hear the sound, the hissing sound from the blow-off valve. I can't believe it. What a sound. What an amazing sound. It feels so amazing to drive this car. Look at the downshifts. That is so aggressive. Hazard lights off, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, launch, and off we go. What an unbelievable gearbox. Same 3.96 seconds to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, but to be fair, we are on a slight downslope of 0.9%, because of which this car is obviously getting some benefit from gravity as well. So what an amazing car. Yeah, it gets a bit bouncy over rumblers and bad roads. The thing is with this car that it gets a bit uncomfortable over bad bumps, but somehow the suspension is able to recalibrate very fast, and that's how the ride is just brilliant here. The only thing is this gearbox is not very good at low speeds. It feels a bit jerky as such. Now it is having an aluminium chassis to keep the weight in check. Still the weight is on the higher side. That said, let's quickly dwell into the history of Lotus. Lotus is very famous for a lot of things. In fact, they have helped a lot of car brands get their dynamics right, including Mahindra, and they also had a Formula 1 team which did well. Yeah, they've won I think 7 championships too. And then Lotus has always been on the brink of bankruptcy. They became bankrupt. They're a British brand, right? When they became bankrupt, they were bought by General Motors, who then sold this car to a private owner who also owned the rights of Bugatti in the 90s. And then this guy sold it to Proton from Malaysia, and then Proton of Malaysia was bought over by Geely, thereby Lotus coming under the Geely umbrella. And now, because it's become Chinese and the Chinese car brands really want to push electric, they are going towards a full electric future with Lotus, which is a bit risky considering sports cars are all about... Yeah, it doesn't hold on to a gear, which is surprising in manual mode as well. Paddle shifters are nice. By the way, this car will return between 4 to 7 kilometers per liter, which is respectable mileage. But then this is a 4-cylinder. You're better off getting the V6 with a manual, because that would be just next freaking level. What a car. Unbelievable. I love it.